Welcome to Potholes and Penguins and our latest edition of the weekly Pothole. We hope you're all very well, lads out there. We'll be joined in a few minutes by Vinny May Jr, the drummer of Kodaline and Rugby fanatic. So we're really looking forward to that and to potholing him, and to maybe he might pothole us back if he's that much into rugby. But it is Halloween week, and I was thinking, right, a penguin outfit, fairly straightforward, right? Just a black sack, cut out the belly, wear a white t-shirt, an old carton of orange juice for a beak. Be pretty straightforward. Penguin, like a penguin. There you go. So penguins get creative, but be careful with the scissors, etc.
Don't cut your flippers off. Are they called flippers?
I presume so.
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
And you could be a scary penguin with like a hatchet, or a sexy penguin with a little skirt. Or
a penguin with a cut in his face. Oh, I'm a dead penguin.
Funny penguin with a hat.
Like an emo penguin.
Yes.
Like you now.
Like me.
I'm an emo penguin.
So yeah, I'd love to see a bit of that. I might do it myself, because it's going to be a long weekend. Have you seen the amount of sport on the television on Saturday and Sunday?
Oh my God, it's colossal.
I reckon that the government, the bastards, saw this coming weeks ago and went, where's the Minister for Sport, you fucking idiot? Look at the amount of fucking sport you're after putting on Saturday.
So,
sorry.
The Irish government can now control the Bledisloe as well. and the Premiership.
Well, did you think they'd all get together and go, lads, like if you look at Saturday, it's the Bledisloe, then Chelsea versus Burnley. Like there'd be people demented by half time in Chelsea versus Burnley at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And then
4 hurling, football.
Two hurling matches on Saturday, 3 Six Nations, 3 Premiership live games, then all day Sunday's the Premiership. They must have gone, lads, we better lock them down 2 weeks beforehand. Or imagine if we were all able to go to each other's houses. The beef.
Oh yeah.
Or pubs.
Yeah.
Definitely what they were thinking.
It's on his birthday on Saturday as well. Damn you, Irish government.
We should go live for on Zoom on Patreon for her birthday, for the blowing out of the candles. She'd love that, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she wouldn't get invited because she's not supporting us.
Is she not?
She's not supporting the podcast.
She might have to this. I hosted my family last week and they did. So get in line. Have you your Saturday? So is going to be kind of according to Anna's birthday. You're kind of pinned down.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I'll struggle to get. Yeah,
I've like I'm going to do a timetable for it and stick to it properly.
Sports sounds like a real hoot in your eyes.
It's a timetable.
It's just so much. There's so much going on. You have to. You need to be organised, I reckon, going into this. Like when you have to be up by. I'll have the twins up by 7. You have to get them bottled and out of the way by 7:30, 7:45. Start the breakfast. Breakfast for the Bledisloe. Bledisloe's on at 9:15, but you want to be there for the hack at 8:30. So breakfast has got to be of champions. Actually, my next door neighbour lives in Kazakhstan. He's our one Kazakhstan listener that you were asking about.
Oh,
Mark. Mark's wife makes unbelievable black pudding and apple pastry things. And if I reckon through the power of the internet via Kazakhstan, I might get his wife Kathy to drop me in some of those for the Bledisloe.
Yeah, while you're at it, I have 2 jumpers as well that you need to hand deliver to their door.
I do.
Mark and Kathy, I was like, they bought 2 jumpers, 1 large and 1 extra large.
Yeah.
Sound.
Yeah. See, we got loads of purchase of jumpers. They've all been sent out, right?
Yeah, they've all been sent out.
Man, Durham.
I'm having a little arch nemesis with the Post Mistress in my local village.
Why?
Just because I posted something to Trimby there the other day, and then I posted another thing in the same direction, and she charged me 2 different rates.
Up?
Yeah, well, she charged me a 26 county rate, and then she charged me a UK rate the next day. But the thing arrived at Trimby on the 26 counties, and she's got one of these kind of, do you know, the computer says no, that character, except she's a 70-year-old woman from Clare who's she's just not happy.
Yeah. So she sees you coming in the door and you're
wearing a funny mask and a white iron jumper and a denim jacket with a bower on, a little tag of a bower on. I wear these commando pants all the time.
She's like, fuck this fella.
And a pair of Doc Martens. So she was like, what the hell? Look at the gap on this fella coming up. And then I get up to the counter and then I have all these...
but you're so charming, did she not?
But you can't be charming with your mask in front of your face.
This is true.
It does reduce charm.
My whole personality was like off schmiles.
Yes.
Smiling at people.
You do. It's so true. Smile the pants off them.
Yeah, you're useless from the nose up, aren't you?
Smiling with your eyes. You just look like a weirdo.
You're just trying too hard. You're like...
I had a similar battle with Maureen, who used to work at the desk in Mr. Binman.
Maureen sounds like trouble straight away.
She does. She used to remind... I won't even say. She... A little bit like... I will. The secretary in Monsters Inc. Do you remember that secretary in Monsters Inc. of the Monster Factory?
I'll get up a photo.
She ended up being the saviour at the end. But she bursted Wazowski and Sully's arse for the whole film, and this is the way Maureen was to me. But I'd be going around getting different prices off different... I don't know, I never done this for anything but my bins for some reason. Got different prices, and then I go into Maureen, but sure, the feckin' Recycle Ireland are giving me it for this, and she'd be getting so thick with me. And then I'd be ringing her with the days that I'd forget to leave my bins out, ringing her complaining that they never collected my bins.
Hey, come back.
You never collected my bins. You never left them out. I did leave them out. We were having this war over the phone. She knew it was me, but yeah, it's weird when you have those Nemesis,
yeah. It's kind of like the same feeling you have with Ginger. That kind of Nemesis, Trimby, is like, you have to put up with her because she's in your house. Yeah, I have to put up with her because I need to deliver these fucking jumpers.
Yeah. No way does Maureen piss in the kid's bed, does she?
Hi, Maureen, stop. Will you stop going to the toilet inside the kid's bed?
Just trying to get my bins taken. Like, for fuck's sake. Just take my recycling, will you, for God's sake.
That computer says no reminds me of Hendy one time told me that he worked in the bank when he was like the summer after you leave school, and Hendy wasn't in the academy at the time, so he was just fanning around doing nothing, working in the bank a couple days a week.
So useless, I'd say.
Completely useless, yeah. Just big, laid back, big fella. And he said at one stage he didn't know how to work the computer because they just say, oh, you'll be cheap, like $2.50 an hour or something. You sit there in front of the computer and answer the question from whatever customer comes in. Customers would come in and ask for, I want a new checkbook or whatever it is. And Henry would just, obviously knowing that they can't see the screen that's facing him, he would just like move the mouse around the screen a little bit, make a couple of clicks, and then just go, there you are, sir, that'll be on its way to you, that'll be there by Monday.
And then not do a thing, just run away.
He would say that'll be in by a day that he wasn't working. So he didn't get the repercussions.
Oh, I'd say that happens more than you think, isn't it?
I'm having an ongoing battle. I bought a Magic Keyboard, an Apple Magic Keyboard off a company called Laptops Direct, and I bought it a month ago, and it still hasn't come.
I thought it was so magic that you couldn't see it.
It's a magic. Oh, maybe it's it's a keyboard. Oh, it's been there all along. It's really annoying. I still have to do all my work here in this thing.
Yeah, get your act together, lads, if you're listening. We probably won't be sponsored by Post Mr. Binman or Laptops Direct. Right, it is a big weekend of Irish rugby. What a way they've it set up. It's magic. So we'll know by 8:10 on Saturday how many scores we need, how many tries we need, how many points difference we need to win. Trimby, how realistic is it? You've been there. You're the only one of us now, and very few people, I'd say, listening that have been there in Paris the weekend of a big Six Nations game. Is it one of the harder ones to go and play in?
Well, it was brought to my attention that I was there last time. Ireland got a bonus point in Paris as well. Granted, it was a very unsuccessful day because we got hammered, but we came back at the end and scored 4 tries. Do you remember that? 2006.
Yes. You came out and scored, didn't you?
Guilty. Came out and scored. What I remembered was, I think that was the day whenever I came out, I was on the bench and I'd forgot my my game day jersey. I was still wearing the warm-up t-shirt like a
this is when you're just about to go on.
Well, no.
Oh my god.
I went to warm up, and if I had been called, like, it would have been chaos. So I got away with it, spotted it, ran back in the changing room, ran back out, and just realised how lucky I was. But yeah, what a
remember David Kilcoyne telling me about losing his boots the day of a game, Heineken Cup match or something, and he just going around the dressing room potholing everyone. Have you seen my boots? Have you seen my boots? Reckon everyone said, and everyone's like trying to get away from him because he's just that kind of person. He'd drag you down with him if he's got a problem. He'd put it on you, and I think Niall O'Donovan had to go and buy him a pair of plastic gammy boots in this little shitty sports shop across the road, and he'd go out and I think it was like against Exeter or something like that. He'd go out and play with these like shit boots, basically.
There is no more stressful moment in your life whenever you go into your bag and you've got no boots. I used to, on game day with Ireland, whenever everybody else would stick their bags under the bus, I used to bring my bag into the bus with me and sit with it on my lap because I was just convinced someone's going to steal my boots or they're going to go missing. And then also I would unzip my bag, look in, see that my boots are there, zip it back up and go, right, happy enough. 30 seconds later, I'd be going, just want to check one more time, just make sure the boots are still there. It's like I had this thing in my head, eventually I'm going to forget my boots.
Yeah, it's like going through an airport when you're hungover and you're frisking yourself every 2 minutes, like, where have I
definitely got a weapon. Definitely got a weapon somewhere.
Yeah.
No, but for Barry, it's definitely his passport. Like
passport so many times.
That reminds me of Dennis Leamy, but age, like, what was this, 2005, 2006? And we were all traveling in our suits, but we had to have we arrived to captain's practice in our tracksuits, and then you had to get into your suits for traveling because Eddie O'Sullivan said this is a business trip. So Leames turned around and he had his like suit bag there hanging on the wall, and he unzipped it, looked in, and he could see that it was his black tie tuxedo, not his suit. And then he looked at it. I watched him. He looked at it and he goes, and he zipped it back up and then zipped it down again, hoping it would have changed.
oh my gosh.
And then I remember me and Rory,
the orange suit from Dumb and Dumber. Zip back up again.
Me and Rory were talking about it afterwards, and then I remember the moment when Ger Carmody, the manager, got on the bus and said, "Has everybody 100% got your suits for travelling?" And they were playing Blur Beetlebum at the time. I just remember Leamy looking out the window going, "Come on, come on, come on." Get through it.
That's Tender by Blur, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tender. So yeah,
great song. I can't blame him. Great song.
Yeah,
that's great.
Don't pick holes in my story.
I feel like this has all happened before. Actually, I think you've told me that, and I think the exact same thing happened.
Oh really? All right.
Yeah. Get it right.
Sorry about that.
Anyway, back to France. Yeah, what's going on? What will they? Can they score 4 tries? I mean, obviously, he scored 4 tries that day, but maybe because France switched off. How do Ireland go out and score 4 tries this weekend against a French team that look like they're finding their rhythm?
What works for Ireland is that France need a bonus point as well. So the tone will be set by just the kind of mindset of both teams. So even last weekend, whenever Wales were playing France, it was a high scoring game as well. So France are, by their nature, they're quite loose in general. And if they're chasing the bonus point, it'll be a loose game. So there's every chance it could fall into Ireland's lap. Having said that, if the game becomes loose, France are always better at that than Ireland are.
Is there anything to be said for, like, have you been in a dressing room with Ireland before where they've gone, lads, we just need to go back to basics, dumb this down, just rip into them from minute one, up the intensity, go, everyone just speed a ball, fucking aggression. Don't get into a bit of don't try and get into patterns. Don't try and get into, a bit of a game of chess. Just go out and play manic for the first few minutes. Because I don't know, I feel like for some reason that's the way I was thinking about it. And then I've heard a few people talk like that during the week, that's the approach they should take. What do you think?
I don't know. I think the only way that Ireland can get into a position where they break them down is if they're a little bit more elaborate, or they put a couple of extra passes onto Paul, play with a little bit more width, play with a bit more structure, and stretch a heavy French pack. And I just think it's actually the complete opposite mindset of that. If you just go, right, let's remove all the detail, let's go hard and direct, let's just get frantic from minute one, it might work. But I think if you're going head to head against a French team who are going to be, you know what they're like, emotional, fired up, they'll meet that. I just think the one thing that they can't cope with will be if we get really, really organised and structured and just take them through width. That's what I think anyway, but I don't know if that'll be the case or not. It'd be interesting to see what Ireland do, because they could make the game tense, and they could win the game by 5 points and be second in the Six Nations. And that's almost like, that might be seen as being successful, because you're going to Paris and you're getting a win. But it's a failure because they have a chance of throwing caution to the wind, chucking the ball about, throwing a few 50-50s. They might get beat by France and they end up like third in the Six Nations. And
it is.
Do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of money to be made as well between the difference between coming second and third.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, right enough.
So there is a lot at stake. Was it like that when you go out and play against France? Were they unbelievably emotional and fired up in Paris?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are.
There's a massive difference physically, like. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, especially they've got a chance of winning Six Nations. France have struggled for years now, and now they've finally got back to where they feel like they always belonged. And I think they'll be fired up to make a point. I think it's great. Like, we're both, like, we talked in the past about the Toulouse being back to where they were, and it's class to see. It's nice to see France getting back to where they were as well.
Yeah.
But worrying.
It is. I think, and when I watched that, you watched that game when they won with Johnny Sexton's drop goal a few years ago. What was it, 42 or something phases they put together at the end? I watched it earlier on. Unbelievable phase of play. You forget, and that was France not probably firing on all cylinders. Missed a few kicks in that game, and it still took a ridiculous, one of the best phases of play that Ireland have put together.
Well, that's the same Ireland team that went to Twickenham and hammered England. So that shows you how good France were that day and what it took to beat them.
All right. Well, we've got
one of my favorite memories of Paris though is Earlsy asking the lads if they wanted to go for a coffee at the Shams a la Sleaze.
So I got to the Shams a la Sleaze, lads.
It's the Champs-Élysées. Champs-Élysées. He's had a few, hasn't he? He called horse radish, horse hummus or something like that before. They had horse hummus.
That's a great culture.
Okay, well, look, we've got a great treat. We've got Vinny May Jr from Kodaline, who's a big rugby fan and obviously part of one of Ireland's biggest, most successful bands. And he's decided to come on and join us today. So we're going to take a quick break here with a little Patreon sales pitch. And then we'll be back with Vinny in a few minutes. Sound.
Recently, we launched our Patreon page for our nearest and dearest penguins, and you've been just lovely so far. Please support your Uncle Barney, your Auntie Andy, and Her Holiness Sister Dermy of Assisi for the price of an onion badgie.
A Cliff Richard calendar.
5 turnips.
A fidget spinner.
A packet of Weetabix.
A microwave dinner.
Conceding a last-minute consolation try to Zebra.
A Simply Red album bought in Tesco's.
A Hunger Buster packet of multi-pack potatoes.
You can help us avoid having to send our kids to work at the age of 5. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
But if you loved me, why'd you leave me? Take my body, take my body. All I want is, and all I need is find somebody, find somebody.
Welcome to the show, Vinny May Jr. Vinny, we've how are you, first of all?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on, lads.
Delighted.
I'm a
Delighted.
long-time listener, first-time caller.
He's a penguin, I knew it. We've just played a live version of All I Want that you recorded during lockdown with the RT Orchestra.
Concert orchestra.
Concert Orchestra.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they're a sound bunch.
yeah.
How did you do that, Vinny? Did you do it?
I'd have to kill you if we told you. We basically recorded all of our parts together, and then we sent it off, and then each member basically just recorded their own track.
Wow.
And we recorded to a click, and then so Jay, our bass player, ended up getting like 40 tracks of like video and audio from all the various people in the orchestra.
Oh, God.
And put them all together and made it look class.
Wow.
Very cool.
Jay is your dermy, so
Yeah, Jay is our
did all
term.
that
Yeah.
shite.
Yeah, we got Jay in trouble. We
exactly.
got him in trouble one night that we brought him back to Hermitage Greenhouse party, and he was supposed to go home, I think.
We did.
Carry on.
Yeah, he's a different for doing that. Like, you know,
He's a loose boy, that
Yeah.
fella. He is.
Yeah.
I
If there's a
remember
set
hearing
going
that.
on, he can't help.
Oh, like ourselves. I remember hearing that song for the first time whenever, what was that, 2013, 14 was it, when it would have come out?
Yeah.
I think it might have been Today FM or something. And I'm sure you hear this all the time, but I was like, Jesus, who is that? It was one of those ones that just...
Thank you.
Yeah, it stopped me in my tracks, and it just never gets old. I'm sure it probably at times have gotten old for you, but it's phenomenal. Like, when you tour now, does it still? I presume every moment, every time you play that in front of a big audience, it's a very special moment.
Yeah, no, it is. It's thank you very much for liking the song. But yeah, it's kind of it's one of those songs that it kind of grew legs and took off, and then it got used in like an episode of Grey's Anatomy, and we just basically kind of started following the success of the song around the world, and it's kind of the song that we're most well known for, I suppose. And we used to finish the set like every night with that song, and we kind of did that for like 5 or 6 years, and we were like, right, we need to find another song to end the set, like. So we started ending on like High Hopes Now or something like that. So we play it slightly earlier on in the set, and I was like, what, you're not finishing now? We're like, no, we just change it, you know.
For ourselves,
we're crazy, you know, just not putting it at the end. But yeah, no, it's incredible just seeing the reaction that song gets. Like, you know, you just see people crying or hugging their best mate beside them and stuff like that, and hopefully we can get back to those days in a field or in a venue when people
Yeah.
can be together again.
And do you have those moments? Because we would often, probably on a much smaller scale, where
in Longford and you'd be in Paris.
yeah, where you'd catch eye with one of the lads on the stage and be like just laughing or smiling, going, "This is gas." Like if you a moment somewhere where it was a ginormous gig, ginormous crowd, and you're kind of going, in particular, where that song.
They're falling for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're getting away with this. I always kind of go back to like one of the first times we ever had like our own like headline show in Dublin. We played like the Sugar Club, and we only had like an EP out at the time, and All I Want was one of the tracks on the EP. And we played that last, and people started singing along to it, and they're like. There's like the Sugar Club in Dublin, there's only like 400 cap, maybe a little bit smaller. And half the audience was all of our family and friends. But the fact that people were singing it back to us, I just remember like myself and Mark, and I got like choked up, and I was like, holy shit, people are like singing along to our song. So, and that was like when there was only like 400 people. Like, so when we played like Marley Park to 38,000 people and hearing all them sing back All I Want, it's just,
God,
it's scary, like too right, man.
Yeah, well, things are closer to home now. You just you had a little baby boy 4 weeks ago. You are a father.
I know.
Congrats,
I am
man.
a father.
Welcome to the world of fatherhood.
Yeah.
What did you name him?
It's cool. He's Vinny as well, because like my granddad was Vincent, my dad is Vincent, I'm Vincent, and then my wife was like, we're not calling him Vincent, but you can call him Vinny, and I was like, I'll take it. So he's the fourth generation.
Vinny the Fourth. I'd say that's the first Vinny the Fourth there's ever been. Is there?
Probably, yeah. I'd say so. But yeah, no, it's going great. Like, he's flying along, which is amazing. And my wife Karina is doing incredibly well as well. And I suppose the kind of the one for me, anyway, the kind of one positive and plus about the whole lockdown situation is I was meant to be away on tour now, so I'm actually home and I get to be here, which is incredible because I wasn't expecting that I was going to be here. So yeah, I'm really lucky that I suppose that's an upside of it.
Wow, could you potentially have been away for the birth?
Yeah, I was only just looking at the tour that we were meant to be going on, and he was born on the 1st of October, and the first show was on the 4th of October.
Oh, God.
And we were all around Europe for 7 weeks. I was going to be home for 10 days and then go off to America for 4 weeks.
Wow.
So I'd literally only be home and then be home like a week just before Christmas. So yeah, it's at least I'm actually here for all of this stuff now, because I'm pretty sure my wife would have killed me. Like,
yeah. It's great when you're first going out and you're a rock star, and it's like, yeah, that just wears off at this stage. Like, he's off playing that feckin' band. It's like us, our wives, like, he's doing that feckin' podcast with Andrew Trimby. I don't know what he's at. He's upstairs making stupid songs.
Yeah. It was a great song you sent me earlier on.
Oh, yeah. Well, look.
What'd you send him?
I sent him, if a referee has a gi. So let's
a classic tune.
Let's play that now.
Classic.
And,
can we play it? Can we send that round the orchestra, guys, and get them to put a track to it?
Okay, so here we go. Here's referee had a gi with the RTE concert orchestra.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, listen to that.
If a referee has a gi, then that's just fine.
Tis.
If a referee has a bendy knee, then that's all right. But a referee like you and me has a sniffle or a sneeze or a cough in his socks, then fuck off. If a referee is a gay, then that's okay.
That's all right.
If a referee likes to pray, then pray away. Hallelujah! But a referee who cannot see and is as blind as can be, the referee should be cited and sent off.
Sent off the fuck.
Referee has a gi, and that's sublime. If a referee has a spine, then we'll be flying. But a referee with no schmerz and a whistle smell no farts, the referee should be booted up the arse. Up the arse.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that from memory was Dermy sitting down afterwards to add all the little bits like separate. So it's just him by himself just going, yippee! Hallelujah!
The creative process.
Yeah, you can't beat it, lads. Can't beat it. Like,
So,
when the juices are flowing, you know.
I kind of feel like I'm identifying with like Dustin's greatest hits or something. This must have been what it was like when he was writing all those songs.
if you were to critique Trimby's drumming skills, Vin, what you make of it?
I won't do that to a fellow drummer. I'm just he did a fantastic job.
Come on.
That is very, very generous of you.
I'd love to see you on stage with when all this blows over with Kodaline. If Vinny would maybe have you on stage for that last song and you're just playing that proddy march.
Very orange. Can you make it less orange, please?
Just before High Hopes. Just before High Hopes.
We'll have you out, man.
I'll stick a sash on for it.
Yeah.
Well, come here. Is your so with Vinny Jr, is he going to be fast tracked to be a drummer or a rugby player, or have you got your sights on anything for him at this stage?
Yeah, I'd like him to have more of an illustrious rugby career than I'd had. So I'll definitely be putting a rugby ball in his hands earlier on than I ever held a rugby ball.
Go on. So, where does your love for rugby come from? When did it start?
I have no idea. Like, because nobody in my family really liked or like watched rugby. Like, we were like, I remember supporting like Man United when I was a kid, and my dad supported Man United. But no, I don't know how I got into rugby. I think it was just in school, and I was just like, I'm sick and tired of like watching footballers like fall over as soon as somebody like blows on them, like, you know, and they fall over and they're rolling around the ground. And I think I started watching rugby, and I was like, yeah, see, that's a man sport, like, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'll get into that. So I started when I was in like first year in school, just playing for the school team. And I started off as a prop because I was a little smaller and chunkier. And I remember like the following, like we broke for summer and I came back, and they were like, right, well, you're not a prop anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, you're a flanker now. And I was like, okay, I don't know what the fuck a flanker does, but all right.
Flank. Just keep flanking.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was a flank, then I played for like Malahide Rugby Club and Setonians Rugby Club for a little bit then, and just played in school pretty much.
And became a big Leinster fan, big Ireland fan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just massive kind of Leinster fan, and have been pretty much since schoolboy days.
Do you get to many games?
To a couple of my mates.
Yeah, do you get to many games, Irish games or Leinster games?
Yeah. I try like whenever I can, whenever I'm home. I'm lucky enough to. We have like a connection in Vodafone, so they kind of sort us out with tickets every so often. And I think one of the first Leinster games I went to, I think I messaged like Jamie Heaslip, and I was just like, "Hey man, can I get tickets to come to the game?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, man, yeah, for sure."
Use your newfound fame.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it was. I was in the UK and I was flying back, and Leinster were playing that day in the RDS, and I just messaged him. I was like, "Any chance of getting a ticket or 2 tickets to the game today?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, man." And I was like, "Fucking class." So yeah, I started then like badgering him and Sean O'Brien and Cian Healy to give me tickets. So and they've obliged, and I've sorted out them with tickets to Kodaline shows and stuff like that. So it's a bit of crack.
Nice.
Reverse potholing with with Kodaline tickets. That's good. I like that's good technique.
Exactly, yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure like Jamie was like, "Oh God," I'm sure like loads of people were like asking him for tickets and stuff like that. But I was like, because I was in a rock band. He's like,
he
yeah,
was,
go
he was
on,
always
yeah.
good for that, Trimby, wasn't he? Jamie was always good for brushing shoulders with the rock bands and rock
He
stars.
was. He got in bother one time. Actually, he had to make an apology to the squad, a formal apology to the squad on the bus one day, because I think he turned down an acoustic gig from Mumford and Sons or Snow Patrol, was it? I can't remember. Someone reasonably high profile, and Jamie goes, "No, you're all right. I think we'll be all right."
Somebody wasn't into like.
Yeah. I, the assumption is that you guys all know each other. So Vinny, actually, we were really keen to get the Beastie Boys on the show. So if you could actually, you're probably
easy,
mates
man,
with them.
yeah.
Would you mind?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. Jamie asked me like to play with you for you guys before you went to Chicago, but I didn't want you all to be crying heading over to Chicago. So yeah, that's,
Yeah, you get spoiled in that fucking Irish team. I always hear the next the list of bands are going in and playing for you. And
I've missed it though. I've missed loads of the big ones.
Have you?
I've had Christy Moore about 5 times.
that's what I was gonna say. It's like if you just got Christy Moore all the time.
you got us once as well, I think, didn't you?
Oh yeah, you guys
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Yawning. I just remember people yawning in front of us.
I think you started by saying this is a bit awkward, isn't it?
Fucking the most awkward gig of all time. Who's that poster behind you, Vin? I can see for anyone watching us on YouTube. There's where is that? Let me see. St. Anne's Park.
This is for the 2 St. Anne's Parks we did last year. It was, what does it say? In recognition of 25,000 tickets sold.
Jeez,
25,000.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Decent. James
So,
Morrison
yeah.
supporting you.
Yeah.
Love James Morrison.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Where's he now?
Yeah, James Morrison.
Now.
And then there's and then the rest is all like, these are all Irish acts, just kind of small kind of Irish bands. So we try and like any time that we're doing a big kind of Dublin show or a big Irish show, we try to get like either like unsigned bands or even just kind of like small bands that are only kind of starting off, and try to get them to give them a bit of a exposure, a bit of a leg up, like, you know.
Well, when all this kicks off, if you want us to play Referee Has a Gee in Croke Park.
Yeah,
John,
man. Yeah, for
consider
sure.
it
We had our keyboard player that we have in the band was also in like an instrumental kind of new metal band, like kind of, and we had him open his band. It's like an instrumental. There's like 8 of them, I think, or 9 of them. And we had them open first when we played like the Marquee in Cork. And I just remember like a load of teenagers, like a load of like teenage girls being like, "What the fuck is this?" So that one didn't go down so well. But they all had a really like good time, and we enjoyed watching them from the back of like the Marquee in Cork. But I just remember a load of like 14-year-olds getting the shift were just like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's hilarious. Jesus. Who just gets me thinking now, who's the best or your favourite band that you have supported or been on the same bill as festival wise?
Oh, that's a good question. It's when we're like doing festival season kind of all around Europe, you get to play with some amazing bands. So we got to play with Queens of Stone Age a couple of times, and like met Josh home like twice. He was playing like frisbee with us in like Switzerland, I think, with Tame Impala and Macklemore. It was really weird. Yeah. So like we had a dressing room beside Macklemore.
Frisbee is an
And he was like,
underrated game.
It is an underrated game, yeah.
Go on,
They
was
were
he any
playing
good?
football beforehand. Josh Holm, he like hopped over a fence to get the frisbee because one of the lads like fucked it in, like, so, and he was massive and he just bound over this massive fence. So yeah, he's a sound lad.
He always comes across really sound.
Yeah.
What about Macklemore?
Yeah.
Any good at frisbee?
Macklemore was just chatting beside us and drinking whiskey because he was like, "Oh, I'm from Ireland as well." And we are like, "Sure you are, pal. Here you go."
Yeah. Do you do a huge amount of? Do you do a huge amount of boozing on the road?
We used to when we first started, and then we kind of realized that we actually have to pay for all the rider as well. So
What?
and we used to, yeah, it was like a competition to see like if we could make sure that we could drink the entire rider that we'd got. But that kind of like stopped after a while, and then we kind of like pick and choose our moments. But we'll always like myself and Mark, the guitar player, will always like have like a gin and tonic before we go on stage. And then there's like a halfway point in the set where like Steve will just play like the one on acoustic guitar, and we'll all leave. So normally that's the point where we go get a top up of our gin and tonic and then come back on stage.
Yeah, it's needed, I suppose. Get out in front of those audiences as well. Give yourself a little
Yeah.
pep in your step. So look, what
Yeah,
has
you're
it been? What has it been like for you over the last few months? You know, obviously every musician in the world now is not gigging, but I've seen you do a lot of live stuff, and you're kind of, I suppose you're trying to adjust and find a new way to get yourselves out there. So how's it been for you?
Yeah, it's been it's like difficult, I suppose, like for any musician or band or like singer songwriter. We've been pretty much like out of work since like the start of March. So we were kind of lucky that we had finished the album, so the album was kind of in the bag, and then we had a talk about like postponing the release of the album till like next year, but we decided to kind of push ahead with it. And then we started doing like live kind of acoustic streams on a Friday evening, and they were pretty good. We were getting anywhere from like 25 to 35,000 people watching them on a Friday evening, which is really cool. So that was a lot of fun to do them, and I suppose it was just kind of keeping ourselves entertained more so than anything. And then we did a couple of like paid live streams just to try to get some money in, because for like, you'll know yourselves, like, but like for bands, the majority of income comes from playing like shows and from playing festivals and touring. You know, you don't really get a massive amount of money from Spotify or from album sales, because
Yeah, I don't think people are
albums.
that aware of it at the same time, are they? I think people still think like you've hit I saw, was it 10 million streams a month this week, which is unbelievable. Beautiful new album, by the way, that One Day at a Time, beautiful. And like, but people still think that you know, that equates to 10 million record sales back in the day.
$1 billion.
I'd love if that equated to that, but it definitely doesn't, like, you know. And by the time like any bit of money that you make from Spotify, by the time it like goes through your publishing company and your record company and your manager takes their cut, like by the time it actually gets to the band, it's like really nothing. Like I'm pretty sure, I think like famously like Taylor Swift, like a couple of years ago, was like she got a check from Spotify for like $10,000, and she's like, I don't know, 40 million monthly listeners or something like that, and she's just like, how is this? Like, how does this equate? Like, you know. So yeah, for us, it's we kind of make our money to like pay the bills and pay our mortgages and stuff like that is through touring. So when that's all kind of stopped, it's kind of scary thing. So we're trying to stay positive at it, and hopefully things can get back to some sort of normality come kind of early next year.
And take me back to the process of creating the album. I loved reading that he decided to go back to the roots, go back to raw Kodaline and record it yourselves, produce it yourselves in Swords, I presume. Is that studio that you worked out of? Created, is that it, at home in Swords? That's brilliant. I loved hearing that.
Yeah, it was. We kind of, like the first album, like it's like everything. You have your whole life to write your first album. You've got 6 months to write your second. So that's kind of what happened. Like with the first album was ready to go, because we had been working on it for years, like, you know. And then the second album was recorded and written when we were on the road in the space of 6 months. The third album, the record label wanted us to go and work with all these different fancy songwriters and producers, and we were in LA for 3 weeks and New York for 2 weeks and over in London and all that sort of stuff, and going to all these like amazing places and working with these amazing people. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, but for us it wasn't really what we wanted to do. So with this album, they were like, you kind of go and do the way that you want to do it. And we have like a warehouse that we've turned a portion of it into like a rehearsal space, and it's like a storage place for all of our gear. So we basically set up like a little studio there and started working on it at the start of 2019. And it was like super relaxed. We were doing like Monday to Friday. I want to say like 9 to 5, but it was more like 11 to 3 or like 12 to 2. And we'd kind of do that, and play festivals then during the summer and stuff like that, and then come back in on Monday and work again for a bit. So it was just a really nice way of working. And yeah, it was just the four of us. Jay, our tech wizard, he kind of engineered and produced the whole thing.
Yeah, I can't believe
because we
that.
had everything there
See the
ourselves.
credits,
It was,
you can't believe
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, so it was pretty incredible, like, you know, that we were able to do that and have so much control over it, which is really kind of nice. Because
Do you know what I mean? It sounds like,
thank you, man.
You know,
Thank
you're
you so
playing.
much.
When you hear, you know, you've got a list of producers or engineers that have produced the best ones in the world, you're like, oh, that's why it sounds so amazing. Not saying anything on Jay. Obviously, when it sounds that good, he's incredibly talented. But it's, I suppose it's encouraging and gives you confidence in yourself, doesn't it? That fuck it, you don't need all the names to be flown around the world. You just go back to the four boys and swords, and
you try to push it so hard into to be a something thing, but like when you just strip it back to what the whole roots were as a band for so long, that it just flows out of you, pure easy.
Well, that's it. Like it was a lot of fun working with all the different producers and different songwriters, and we'd get put into like a studio, and they were like, oh, well, this person wrote Patience by Take That, and we were like, oh, fuck, and they were like, oh, and then here's Elton John's piano, and you're like, and here's like all, and you're looking at all this amazing stuff, and you're just like, oh shit, and then you're like, right, you're here for 2 days, write a hit, and you're like, fuck. So like that kind of pressure, like we never, I don't think we really work well under that sort of pressure, and we're kind of our own biggest critics anyway, so it's easier if we're just kind of left to do our own thing, and eventually we'll kind of come around to the right idea. But I suppose sometimes you don't always have the luxury of time, and we kind of did on this album, which I suppose is what enabled us to take like 13 months to do it, and to have the freedom just to do it ourselves, you know.
Love it. Well, I had something there that was brilliantly going to segue me back into France versus Ireland at the weekend, but I can't fucking remember what it was now.
So France versus Ireland.
Something to do with ye on tour and trying to tell each other that you're great and not worrying about other bands. That was it. So we're not worrying about other bands. We're not worrying about France. We don't care how many albums France have sold. We don't care how their numbers are. We're ourselves. We have Johnny Sexton, and who else do we have?
Hugo. We've got Hugo, and he's full of energy and enthusiasm.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah. So
He was fucking class.
he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
How do you
It
think?
was unbelievable. And he was robbed at that first try, like.
Yeah.
He was. That was a bit harsh, wasn't it? I thought it was such a good break from Jacob. I thought it was a bit. Nah, leave those ones go. Little nudges. What are your thoughts for Saturday anyway? Have you a big day planned? Get the young fella in front of the television, force him to watch rugby for 7 hours.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I already have it all planned out. My next door neighbours bought him an Ireland jersey, so I had him in that last week when we were watching the Italy game, and every so often I'm quite like, normally when I'm watching rugby, all the other lads when we're on tour will not watch it with me because I have a tendency to just like scream and curse at the screen. So normally all the lads don't watch rugby with me. So I had to kind of stop myself from doing that when I was holding the little fella and stop just being like, God!
Squeezing him.
And yeah, exactly, yeah, and trying not to fuck him across the room. So I'll make sure that he's like beside me and I'm not holding him. But yeah, it's an exciting game, I suppose. You know, the fact that it's kind of Ireland know what they need to do going into it. Like, you know, we need the bonus point, or at least we need to put a decent score on France and hope that England don't absolutely trolley Italy. Like.
Yeah, we don't know what we are. Are we confident or what are we? I haven't a clue.
I'm confident. I was actually in Twickenham at the Ireland England game, and it was a very last minute thing, and I was like, I shouldn't go to Ireland games because anytime I go to them, we seem to lose. Like I went to the two All Black ones that Ireland played in Dublin, and we both lost. So I don't think I should go to an Ireland like international game. But yeah, England are really good. It was, I don't know. I just hope that they don't absolutely trounce Italy. Like,
yeah, I think they will. That's a given. I think we're 23 points ahead on points difference. So I reckon England will put at least 40 on them. They'll win by 40. So we might come down to the bonus point. Which we, we've gone out into a game, it's like that classic thing in football when I used to find it so fascinating when a team would play safe for the entire game and then know they have to win and just throw everyone forward for the last 3 minutes of a game and finally grab a winner and say, well,
put them under pressure.
Why didn't you do that from the start? If Ireland can do that from the start, who knows? Trimby looks at me like I'm the most naive person in the world.
Naive.
It's a more enjoyable place to be, that naivety. So I'm happy to join you, but it doesn't happen very often.
Fakatawa. Yeah. He's spinning the ball on his finger.
Yeah. I just I haven't really watched much of like France's games in the Six Nations, so I don't really know what sort of France is actually playing. You know, whether it's a decent side or is it one of those kind of crazy sides that come around every couple of years, like where they're just playing a absolutely crazy brand of rugby. So
it's a bit of both.
I'm not
definitely
sure.
A bit of both.
Yeah.
I think they've sorted out their defence with what's his name.
The English guy.
Edwards.
Sean
Edwards has come in and sorted out the D, which is what are you laughing at, Tony?
Do you sorting out the D?
Do you think D means means dick?
Exactly what I think.
He's sorting out the dicks and getting them in line. But I still think we can put them under pressure, as you said. Kick the ball into the right areas. I'm happy enough to let them box kick a little bit this weekend.
Oh, box kicking is back on the menu.
Yeah. So look, fingers crossed, lads. We'll get the win, and if not, that we, at least as Trimby said earlier on, we might finish in second place. But for now, we'll be naive. Vinny.
No, but hopefully Gary Ringrounds' broken jaw isn't for nothing. Like.
Yeah, I know. We also wrote a song about him. If you want to listen to that and get the orchestra behind that one as well. Meatloaf might be onto us about plagiarising one of his songs, but sure, look. Then you're a gent. Thanks a million for joining us, man. And best of luck with the new album. Hope you keep getting those $1 billion checks in the door, and
yeah, man,
and get back on the road ASAP.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it and love the podcast. So thanks very much for having me on.
Dead.
Cheers, Vinny.
Legend. Cheers, man.
Awesome. Cheers, lads.
Come to say goodbye. That was Vinny May Jr. on the weekly pothole. Goodbye, and we will beat France and win the Six Nations.
Oats and hoes.
That's it. That's perfect for me, lads. You could stick your Proddy drum thing underneath that as well, Turnby. It'd be fucking perfect. All right, lads, all the best. Party on. Have a great weekend.
Chicken chow mein. Party on.
Party on.